Location: Andromeda System, Planet Alpha. A brooding atmosphere of unease has been spreading over Alpha, a miasma of anxiety and fear that is almost palpable. And it's no wonder. These are critical times for the Alphan race. Our planet faces seemingly insurmountable ecological and political problems, and we are poised on the brink of extinction. Despite the opposition leader's fierce objections, the president has given the computer mainframe, known as the Frame, free rein to solve the worldwide crisis, whatever the cost. But computer intelligence has now far exceeded Alphan intellectual capacity and control. The Frame has assumed complete control and has shut down nearly all vital computer-regulated systems. With all manual overrides disabled, it's been impossible for us to put the systems back online. It looks as if the cold, rational intellect of the Frame has reached the logical conclusion that the only way to salvage Planet Alpha is to eliminate the cause of all the problems. Us. Signed, The Historian. These are the words which introduce us to the story of Ayreon's 2017 album The Source in the Collector's Edition Yearbook. The paragraph is written by the historian, one of the 11 main characters that tell their story over the course of the album, each portrayed by an individual singer. The Source is chronologically speaking the first album in the Ayreon universe, a complex interconnected sci-fi storyline over multiple albums. Ayreon has grabbed my attention not only because of the gorgeous prog music, but also because of this unique approach to storytelling itself. So I decided to dive deeper into the lore and discuss the lyrics for each of the songs of this album, and maybe I'll continue from there. I was inspired by a great lyric discussion video by Papito Quinn about the Ayreon song A Natural Selection from my favorite Ayreon album 01011001 that The Source is a prequel to. I should also mention that this project is for all intents and purposes a podcast. There won't be anything beyond the album cover and the lyrics on screen, but I will read out all the lyrics, so it shouldn't be necessary to pull them up yourselves or watch the video. The Source is much more character-driven than 01011001, which covers most of the events of the Ayreon universe and is therefore rather complex. I predict some songs from The Source are more straightforward and will take less time discussing than others. But there are nonetheless many interesting nuances as well as references to future events via the character of the prophet to talk about. The story is split into 4 parts, or chronicles as they are called. It begins with Chronicle 1, The Frame. With this introduction out of the way, let's head straight into the first song of the album, The Day That the World Breaks Down. This song is by far the longest of the album, at a length of 12.5 minutes. All 11 main characters are present, and it mainly serves as an introduction to the situation at hand and the characters. The historian is the first to make an appearance. A silence so deafening as the stillness surrounds us. A rush of fear is surging through our veins. This silence the historian talks about can both be read as the literal silence that resulted from all the systems being shut down, as well as the metaphorical silence before the storm. The Alphans are used to a highly technological lifestyle, with mechanization that is beyond the current state of our planet. Like people living in a metropolis today, they are probably not used to silence, making it very eerie. In later songs, panic and fighting will start, but right now, this is not yet the case and everything is deadly calm, so this is where the silence before the storm aspect comes in. The historian continues, A shadow so menacing darkens our horizon. What have we done? Is this the end? When death descends. What I said about the silence can also be applied to the shadow. Technology shutting down leads to literal darkness as well as the shadow on the horizon signifying the coming storm. The other aspect here is the what have we done, as it's not an evil outside force that brought this disaster on the Alphans, but they themselves, most likely the president, who we will see later. For now, it's the turn of the opposition leader. Don't say I didn't warn you. You'll recall my words. The day that the world breaks down. Don't claim you didn't see it. Are you prepared to die the day that the world breaks down? He's directly speaking to the president here. The opposition leader did warn the president about the danger of the frame, but he was overruled. Now he can rightfully be like, told you so, for all the good that does in actually dealing with the catastrophe. The chemist comes in. I can't believe we're in danger. I can't believe that we've let it come this far. The chemist will play a major role in this album, but as of right now, he has nothing interesting to say. The counselor. We must prepare for the changes. We must prepare for the day that the world breaks down. Despite the coming catastrophe, the counselor fulfills her job in telling the people to act and tackle the future instead of giving up and succumbing to despair. She has nothing concrete to offer, though. The opposition leader returns, once again addressing the president. Don't expect we will survive this. There'll be no way back. The day that the world breaks down. Don't assume it's all a nightmare. We don't stand a chance the day that the world breaks down. The opposition leader rightfully blames the president for their current situation, but he doesn't have any intentions of taking over control and saving the Alphans from catastrophe. Considering his judgment was way superior to that of the president, this should have been possible, but the opposition leader has already given up at this point and has no hope of surviving. We will see over the course of the album that despite his massive miscalculation, the president will continue to be in charge and lead efforts to escape Alpha. Now the chemist and the counselor repeat what they said before in other words. Note the nice rhyme here though. The chemist. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe we are headed for a fall. The counselor. We must prepare for the blackening. We must prepare for the day that the world breaks down. The next character introduced is the prophet. He is the reference master, constantly hinting at events to come in albums that were released before this but happened later in the chronology. Apparently, he knew a catastrophe like this was coming. I can feel it in my heart. I can see it in the stars. Behold, it's all been foretold, the future unfolds, the day that the world breaks down. Another very important character to the story is introduced, the captain. I always knew this would happen. Not many believed in my cause. I'm sure they will all turn to me now. I'm sure I am the only one who can save us from this fate. When he says he always knew this would happen, he doesn't mean it literally like the prophet or concretely considering this event like the opposition leader. Rather, he always believed that the time would come when the Alphans had to leave their planet. He is the captain of the spaceship Starblade, which I presume to be the only long-range starship the Alphans have built. Otherwise, other groups would have tried to escape the planet in the same way, which is never even implied. The captain's lines imply Starblade is a project he himself brought to the table and pushed through. He is very cocky in general though, so this is likely an exaggeration. As a quick side note, Ayreon once stated in an interview that he writes his music first and then bases the characters and lyrics on the singers he wants to work with. He gives the example of the cocky captain being exactly tailored for Tobias Sammet's personality. In this part, we also hear the android TH1 for the first time shouting Starblade, the name of the spaceship. There is much to be said about TH1, and I believe many of the interpretations of the role he plays during the album to be wrong, but I will come to that later. The captain continues, I always knew they would need me. Not many showed faith in my plans. I'm sure they will listen to me now. I'm sure that I'm the only one who can save us from this fate. One thing I wondered is where the characters actually are physically at this point. They only officially come together just before the fourth song, Star of Sira. Obviously, the opposition leader is addressing the president and it makes sense that they are close together. The next character that will be introduced, the astronomer, is replying to the captain, so these two have also met for this part. But beyond that, nothing more can be obviously deduced. I can imagine a movie that shows all of the characters' reactions to this danger, where they are mostly all over the place and then come together to plan in Star of Sira. This is not really relevant, but I thought it an interesting consideration. The astronomer: yes, I believe you are the answer. Yes, I agree you are the key. Our future lies in the heavens, our future lies beyond the stars. Starblade: we will save them, Starblade. We will save them, Starblade, from this fate. The double affirmation of the captain's plan to leave Alpha works great with Hansi Kirsch's powerful yes. The same applies to the "we will save them." That sung by Hansi really drives the point home. He is committed and not at all hesitant about what has to be done. Obviously, the astronomer working together with the captain makes sense. He now begins to look for possible planets to fly to. We will see the result of his work during the fourth song, Star of Sira. Now, after him already appearing a couple of times shouting Starblade, the android TH1 gets his absolutely incredible binary part that none other than Mike Mills could have pulled off. For completeness' sake, I will be reading the entirety of it, despite feeling stupid doing so. 0111010 0111010 0111001 0111011 0111010 0101010 010010000 001100001. In the decimal system, these numbers are 116, 114, 117, 115, 116, 84, 72, 49. The given numbers are the ASCII representations of trust TH1, where the trust is lowercase and the TH from TH1 is uppercase. TH1 is usually written with a dash. This is however not present here, as well as there not being a space between trust and TH1. With machines taking over everything, the question of whether TH1 can be trusted is important. Many fans believe him to be an antagonist even here, because of the finale of the album, but I believe this to be based on a misunderstanding of the story. To quote directly from the character description from the yearbook: an early serious transhuman android, TH1 is programmed to serve Alphans above all else. He disconnects himself from the frame to ally with the group. His deep understanding of the frame is vital for helping the team reach their ultimate goal. So no, TH1 is neither evil nor a plant placed in the group by the frame. He is in fact loyal to the Alphans, and his message, "Trust TH1", is genuine. One could argue that this is just to prevent spoilers, but I don't see why, considering it's to the end of the yearbook, not in the introduction. My opinion is not based on this text anyway. In fact, this was my interpretation even before I read it. I will be explaining my reasons for this further in later songs, mainly Bay of Dreams and of course March of the Machines. We now get to see the person responsible for this entire affair, the president. I must have been blind. I mean, it should have been obvious. Straight out of my mind to rely on a cold machine. The signs are strong. I know I was wrong. I know they will hate me now. Ooh, but I will come clean and destroy this cold machine. As Ayreon himself wrote for the lyric video, the president is desperate to atone for his mistake. From these lines it seems like he takes full accountability for his decision, stating it should have been obvious and that it was a massive mistake. However, saying it should have been obvious sort of implies it's just something he didn't think of. But we already know the opposition leader warned him of the danger. The only way the president went through with activating the frame anyway is him consciously deciding he would be proven right about it solving all their problems. This certainly requires a great deal of arrogance, an arrogance that is still visible in the president boldly stating he will destroy the frame, a feat he will not even come close to achieving. Ignoring warnings about technology is a common theme in Ayreon songs. Unnatural Selection, the song the lyric discussion video that inspired me was about, even has the line, "Listen to the warning" in it, a warning that is, obviously, also ignored, which leads to spoiler and ultimately massive spoiler. Back to the source. The diplomat is the second to last character to be introduced. This is not over, not as long as we're alive. If we join our forces, we will make it. This is not over. As a race we must survive, and in the end we'll cross this bridge together. The diplomat does his job by telling people to work together to achieve the common goal. What's interesting here is that he, unlike the president, doesn't talk about destroying the frame, but just about the survival of their race. So in a way, he does find a middle ground between the bold and unjustified optimism of the president and the utter pessimism of the opposition leader. The frame agrees it's looking grim, but he holds to the idea that he can win against the frame. We're losing this fight, and yes, we've got ourselves to blame. I guess it seems right in the mind of a cold machine. I'll fix every flaw, I'll break every law, I'll tear up the rulebook if that's what it takes. You will see, I will crush this cold machine. What was only hinted at earlier is very obvious here. Despite all his grand words about him realizing everyone will hate him now for his decision, he immediately states that we've got ourselves to blame, despite it being mostly him who is to blame. This is a common tactic used by politicians, shifting the blame from their person to the entirety of the nation. It's even more jarring considering he states multiple times that he himself will defeat the frame. All are to blame for the decision, but he alone will be the one crushing the frame. In reality, he is to blame, and only a coordinated effort by all can achieve anything. The diplomat contrasts the president by only using we in places where the president would have used I. This is not over. I'm sure we'll find a way out of this desperate situation. This is not over, even if it all seems hopeless, for in the end we'll cross this bridge together. Lastly, we have the biologist. I can feel it in the air. The signs are everywhere. Communications grind to a halt. Traffic has stopped. The grid starts to fail. Planes crashing down. We're getting closer to the day the world breaks down. There's little time left. Everything is starting to fall apart. Perhaps the most important thing here is the mention of the power grid starting to fail. The reactors do no longer work properly, but they also haven't been shut down according to procedure. The meltdown of the core that will seal the fate of Alpha will be mentioned in Everybody Dies. This marks the end of the song, but there is one more thing I'd like to discuss regarding the biologist. She is, in my opinion, unfortunately the least interesting and least important character in the story if one goes by the lyrics alone. The yearbook description of her character is spirited and rational-minded. The biologist is a firm believer in the scientific method's ability to solve problems. She's first to recognize Alpha's pending environmental collapse, and is crucial for determining if alien planets can sustain life. This is promising, but none of it is actually present in the lyrics. Alpha's environmental collapse is the reason the frame was given ultimate authority to begin with, so she's definitely crucial to the overall story, but this happened before any of the songs and is therefore relegated to this short additional text. As for the survivability on alien planets, she could be crucial in the storytelling, but in the lyrics this role is entirely fulfilled by the chemist, as will be seen during Star of Sira. Listening to the album without further information, one couldn't even figure out she's a biologist, which is a shame. I reckon this is a result of Ayreon using Floor as a secret weapon at the end of songs. This makes for a grand finale, musically speaking, but it doesn't allow the character to establish new things others then respond to. Story-wise, having a character mostly appear at the end of scenes is very limiting. The biologist not being properly connected to the story is perhaps the only gripe I have with the album, so I will bring it up again from time to time. I honestly did not expect this discussion to be as long as it turned out to be. Despite the length of the day that the world breaks down, I sort of thought there wouldn't be much to talk about considering it's just an introduction. But I found more things than I had noticed before, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to do these discussions. I absolutely adore what Ayreon has created, and diving deeper is a joy. It's not just a story told over the course of one concept album, but many albums that tell different, interconnected stories that leave it to the listener to piece it all together. The next song, Sea of Machine, will see quite a few references to other albums, so I look forward to talking about it.